What's up guys? Today we're looking at traps that you can set so you can hit more submissions and attacks. 9 ways to bait your opponent into moving the way you want them to so you can counter their reaction. And always stay one step ahead. We'll be looking at gi and no gi, but most of these traps can be done in both. But first, I'd like to introduce you to the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of super interesting and useful courses, so you can learn and discover new skills or deepen your understanding of existing ones. I used Skillshare when I was learning how to edit videos for YouTube. I had zero experience, but look at my videos now. One program that really helped me was video editing with Final Cut Pro X, From Beginner to YouTuber by Ali Abdal. They have classes on productivity, business, making a YouTube channel, editing videos, painting, arts, and everything you can think of. Skillshare benefits include being ad-free so you can stay in the zone while exploring new skills. New premium classes launch each week, so there's always something new to discover. The entire catalog is now available in subtitles in Spanish, French, Portuguese, and German. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to hit the link in the description will get a free trial of premium membership to Skillshare. Let's get started. Number 1, let your opponent have the underhook, bait them to come up on top, and then counter with the choke. From side control and many other positions too, you can allow your opponent to have an underhook, and as they try to come up on top to their knees, you can snatch up their neck. You want to allow just a little bit of space to not make it too obvious, and wait until they're on their side, then place your hand underneath their chin. Now you can attack the guillotine, darces, anaconda chokes, and more. Here's some real rolling footage of me setting up this trap. My opponent has the underhook and I wait patiently for them to take the bait by coming up on top. He takes the bait and now I'm able to attack the choke. Here's another example. I actually make too much space for him to come up on top. He knows something's up, but he comes up anyways. I love this trap and use it all the time. It's an essential part of my front choke game. Number 2, threaten the cross collar choke so your opponent defends and lifts their elbow in the process, and then counter with the armbar. You can set up arm bars by threatening the cross-collar choke. When you go to place your second choking hand on the lapel, often your opponent will reach across to block the grip. This forces them to lift their elbow higher, which gives you the space to bring your hips higher to the head and in the perfect position for an arm bar. And if they don't defend, you can just choke them. In most cases, they'll defend their neck though, and you've got the arm bar waiting for them. This isn't an exact example, but very close. I threaten the cross-collar choke, but instead of blocking the second grip, my opponent bridges forward. As his elbows raise from his body, I bring my hips higher and start working on the armbar. I never had any intention of finishing the cross-collar choke itself. Number 3, let your opponent come up on top from the armbar and triangle them as they do. When you have your opponent in an armbar, you can trap them by letting them come up on top and into a triangle by placing your leg from the armpit side of the arm to the shoulder side of the arm. Now just take your leg off their face so they can come up to top position. They want to be on top anyways, as it's easier to escape an armbar from top position. This isn't a perfect example either, but these are 2 of my white belts. One of them has their leg on the shoulder side of the arm, and as the other white belt comes up on top, he enters into the triangle. Number 4, let your opponent roll out of the omoplata and counter with the armbar as they do. To counter an omoplata, your opponent will often want to roll out of it. You can let them, and as they do, you're prepared and ready with the armbar. You just gotta make sure that you move your knee so they have room to roll, and as they do, switch to controlling their wrist with 2 hands. This is me hitting it on Jeff Chan from MMA Shredded. Make sure to check out the sparring session that we did on his channel. Number 5, let your opponent try and slip their arm out of the omoplata. As they do, counter with a straight arm lock. Sticking with the omoplata, your opponent may also want to circle their arm out, and as they do, you can come up to your knees and catch their hand in your armpit. Then press your hips into their elbow for the arm lock. This is what they're trying to do. Watch how I make space for my opponent's arm to escape. As it does, I'm ready and catch it. I didn't have good enough control of his wrist on this one and lose it, but I finished with the armbar anyways. It didn't work this time, but trust me, it works, and it's a nasty armbar. Number 6, let your opponent pass your guard to catch them with the baseball choke. We bait our partner into passing our guard, and as they do, we circle underneath them for the choke. We want to grab the lapel like a baseball bat and give space to let our opponent pass our guard. As they do, spinning underneath crosses our arms and creates tremendous choking pressure. Even if they take your back or try to armbar you to counter the choke, it's not going to help them. And yeah, my Yuki definitely should have tapped earlier to that. Definitely a cool one. You just gotta really make sure it's not obvious or your opponent won't take the bait to pass. This is my student Crystal putting her opponent half to sleep with this. Crystal has put so many people to sleep with this choke, it's ridiculous. She's probably put 10 times the amount of people to sleep that I have. It's one that's hard to catch in the same person twice though. Number 7. Pretend to pull guard to get your opponent to step forward and then counter with the ankle pick. The fake guard pull ankle pick is one of my favorite takedowns. All you gotta do is pretend to pull guard so your opponent steps forward and then you ankle pick them. See how my Yuki naturally steps forward during the guard pull? Well, him stepping forward is what I need to execute an ankle pick. As you can see in this ankle pick, I need him to step forward so I can actually reach the ankle. This is really good for big guys especially. It requires barely any strength. All you gotta do is lift your foot up, drop to your knee so you can actually reach the ankle, and then grab it. Number 8. Force your opponent to post their hand on the mat and then counter with the triangle. This is a great triangle setup. Make your opponent post on the mat when going for a hip bump sweep, grab their head and bring your leg over their arm for the triangle. Let's look at how to do a hip bump sweep first. Scoot your hips out to the side, pull their arm to your body and lower your legs to swipe their legs out from underneath them. You'll have to post on the mat so you can reach their arm and then push off the mat with your leg to generate power. You need to make sure their hands aren't on you and stopping you from coming up. If you don't have good control of the arm, they can post out and stop the sweep. Knowing this, you can let them post out as bait and trap them with the triangle. You gotta make sure you really go for it or they won't post out far and you won't have room to get your leg over their arm. Just a quick triangle tip while we're here, it's really important to have a good bite on your triangle. If you see space like this, then the triangle is no good. This here is a good bite, meaning there's zero space or gap. It's all choke and it's gonna be super tight. Another tip is to grab your shin before you even lock up the triangle. This will ensure your opponent can't posture up or stack you. With your foot on the hip, you can shoulder walk out and keep the distance. Here is me hitting this in a live roll against a fellow black belt. I force him to post out by bumping him with my hips. As he does, I land the triangle and my first priority is to grab my shin. This tip is such a game changer, make sure to remember it. Number 9. Let your opponent free their arm from the 100% sweep and then take their back. Also from the failed hip bump sweep, we have the 100% sweep to back take. You can bait your opponent into freeing their arm so you can take their back as they do. Even if they don't, you can just let go and mount them or you can neck crank them as a submission. But if you let them free their arm, you can take their back and I love taking backs. As I like to say, all routes lead to the back. To perform a 100% sweep off the failed hip bump, you want to scoot your butt out so you can sit up. Then loop your arm under like a guillotine, but go through the armpit instead and gable grip your hands together. Now for the bait, we can make some space so our opponent can free their arm and we pull them across our body and into our back control. My name is Jordan Pressinger and my goal is to teach you how to roll, not just specific jiu-jitsu techniques. So if that's what you're looking for, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment and hit the notification bell. Alright guys, thanks for sticking around until the end of the video. If you're still here, please leave a comment or a fist bump. And as always, thank you to everyone who supports the channel on Patreon. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. And let me know what trap you like the most. And I'll see you guys next time.